Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence, and by Dow Automotive Systems, innovations for clean powertrain solutions.
This is Autoline Daily for March 2nd, 2011, and now the news. New car sales shot up spectacularly in the American market last month. They jumped by more than 27%, falling just shy of 1 million units. On an annualized basis, known as the SAAR, sales came in at 13.3 million units versus 10.5 million a year ago. And despite rising gasoline and diesel prices, Americans showed they still prefer trucks over cars. Car sales were up nearly 23%, while trucks were up nearly 32%. Even though sales of small cars were up strong, as we'll see in a moment, they still lost market share. Amongst the major manufacturers, General Motors and Toyota put in a blistering performance. On a daily selling rate, which is how Wards reports them, GM sales were up by more than 46%, Toyotas were up nearly 42%. Hyundai, Kia were up strong, as was Nissan. While Ford and Chrysler did see an increase in sales, they both lost market share. But be careful how you interpret these results. Bloomberg reports that both GM and Toyota increased their sales incentives by 11 to 12%. Honda raised its incentives by nearly 9%. Ford and Chrysler actually cut their incentive spending. The lesson in all this is that automakers are going to be tempted to increase their incentive spending, and that could come back to haunt them. In the subcompact class, the Ford Fiesta shot to the top of the charts, and the Hyundai Accent actually outsold the Honda Fit. The Chevy Aveo and Toyota Yaris trailed in the segment. The Honda Civic led the compact class, and while the Toyota Corolla Matrix put in a strong performance, the real news here is how strong the Chevrolet Cruze is selling. Every month for the last 4 months, the Cruze has shown spectacular sales gains. Amongst mid-size cars, the Toyota Camry proved once again it's the best-selling car in America, and yet the Ford Fusion put in a pretty good performance, outselling the Honda Accord. The Nissan Altima and Chevy Malibu round out the segment. And the crossover segment continues to be one of the fastest growing in the market, and the Honda CR-V performed the best of all. Even so, the Ford Escape showed a lot of strength in the segment, and the Chevrolet Equinox is definitely starting to flex its muscles. Surprisingly, despite Toyota's strong overall performance, sales of the RAV4 were pretty weak compared to the competitors. The Ford F-Series continues to be the best-selling full-size pickup, but the Chevy Silverado came closer to it than in any other month in recent memory. The Ram pickup trailed well behind, but its sales were actually up more than 80% compared to a year ago. The Toyota Tundra and Nissan Titan trailed way behind. And there's a real dogfight going on in the luxury segment. BMW climbed to the top of the list, and by the way, these sales do not include Mini. Mercedes slid into second spot, but the real shocking performance here is Cadillac, which saw sales shoot up by 70%. Lexus sales were essentially flat, so the brand lost market share, and while Audi is last on the list, its sales were up strongly over a year ago. So what can we read into all these numbers? Well, the market is recovering quickly. But so far, rising fuel prices don't seem to have had much of an impact on sales or on what people are buying. While hybrid sales were up more than 41%, virtually all of the gain came from one car, the Toyota Prius. Hybrids still account for only 2.4% of the total market. Now, if fuel prices continue to rise, they could easily skew all these numbers, but so far, they seem to have had very little impact. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the all-new Mazda 5. Even though it's built on the same platform as the Ford C-Max, it's quite a bit different.
Introducing Bridgestone's third generation of run-flat tires with groundbreaking new Bridgestone technologies. Bridgestone run-flat tires offer improved ride comfort, lower rolling resistance, and improved wear while giving you the peace of mind and comfort you need.
I just got a chance to test drive the new Mazda 5, which is coming into showrooms in the American market as we speak. Here's my quick impression of what this car is all about. Here's my instant impression of Mazda's newest minivan, the Mazda 5. Under the hood, you get a 4-cylinder engine. You also get a choice of either a 5-speed automatic transmission or a 6-speed manual. And even though this is a minivan, there's quite a bit of room inside. And look what they've done here. They squeezed in a 3rd row. And squeezed is the right word because you really got to squeeze to get in there. But they did give this thing a whole lot of storage room. Check this out. The seat cushion in the middle row flips forward, gives you a nice little cubby hole. And with a couple of easy steps, you can fold the seat flat. Gives you a lot more versatility in this thing. But you need all those cubby holes because in the back here, there isn't a whole lot of storage room for groceries and the like behind the 3rd row. But it's easy enough to flip that 3rd row forward. Now you got all kinds of room back there. Check out also these flowing lines that they stamped into the doors going along the side of this car. This is what Mazda says is going to separate it, styling-wise, from Honda and Toyota. Much more expressive. But come on, let's take it for a drive. If you're familiar with the old Mazda 5, you're going to love what they did with the new one. They raised the vents on the dashboard and the information center. By raising the vents, they get more flow through the vehicle. By raising the information center, you don't have to take your eyes off the road as much to look at it. This thing is a whole lot quieter than any other Mazda I've driven recently. And the way it steers, the way it brakes, the way it accelerates isn't quite as hard-edged as Mazda's of late. In fact, they've softened the whole thing up, which is probably pretty good, seeing that they're going after a buyer who's looking for a minivan. This thing starts at about $20,000, but typically equipped, most people are going to pay about $23,000 or $24,000 for it. And while Mazda has this minivan segment all to itself, Ford is going to be hot on its heels with the C-Max.
All Mazda 5s are equipped with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine with 157 horsepower. With either the manual or the automatic transmission, it's rated at 21 city and 28 highway. And that's today's report on the top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.